What are your personal beliefs surrounding aliens and UFOs?
Good question. I believe if you go looking for them, you will find them though. Pat Murphy, I'm from Cork, living in Dublin. I'm an electronic engineer, software engineer, so that's what I work in. The group was set up really for discussion. I had developed an interest in UFOs and aliens, and I really kind of sought to get to an understanding what they were. And essentially, the idea is to have an open discussion, a place where people discuss these things, you know. I've come to the conclusion that they're not extraterrestrial. They're not from outer space. They're not from other planets. I believe they're interdimensional, which means they're from another dimension. That terminology is quite common amongst I would call the scientific community, that in terms of ufologists, and they share a lot of actually behaviors with paranormal visitors like ghosts and goblins. I'm not saying all of those are correct, but in that whole genre basically.
And have you had personal experience
No.
with these? No.
No, I've never seen anything, never sought to see anything.
Do you know people who have?
Anecdotally, I've heard indirectly through people who've seen things. I think there was one person or group might have seen something, but so no. I mean, most of the evidence I've seen is on the media, Irish newspapers or even internet.
Do you think it's quite dangerous for people to talk about this openly?
No, I think it's good to talk about it. It's risky to talk about it, but I think you can inform yourself very well. If you read a lot of the ufologists who are not committed, but who are genuinely just having an open mind, if you look at the middle of the road people, they would say the behavior over the last decades of these creatures is very deceptive in nature, basically. There's a bigger picture behind this. There's an agenda. The people who go seeking to see these things sometimes will actually eventually encounter one. If you seek to encounter a spirit or ghost, or if you go looking for poltergeist in the house, chances are, you start looking in certain places and you might attract these,
What are these beings supposed to look like?
I think you get into the realm of what's a human being. Are you a bunch of molecules and amino acids with some electrical impulses, or is there more to you? So there's more to us than meets the eye. We're spiritual beings, we're psychological, we're physical. The interface, I guess, these beings can actually interface with the material world. They can actually show up on radars, and we have seen that. That's indisputable. Nobody can say anymore these things are figments of people's imagination. They will show up in the radars. The US Navy have radar images with these objects. There are many, many stories of people who've been abducted, who have met them. You have to accept a large proportion of those people. They're not crazy and they're not lying, basically, right? And so their descriptions of what they look like they seem to take different forms through the centuries. So at the moment, they look like aliens. If you look at the literature from 19th century, they looked like travelers from other countries when the world was smaller. So they're spiritual beings. So to interface with us humans, they actually modify their appearance. The real question is, what's the end game? What are they doing, and why are they doing it,
What do you think the answer is?
If you go back 50 years, 100 years, alien belief in UFO was on the fringe. It's now it's believed by probably 90% of people that there probably is life out there, and there probably is aliens, and there probably are benevolent,
Mm-hmm. Are you sure that the 90% of people would believe in life on other planets? Because personally, I meet a lot of people who just say, nah, I don't believe in it. I think there's still a lot of skeptics, isn't there?
Yeah, I suppose belief was the wrong word. It's a case of, people hold loose beliefs and firm beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of firm beliefs, push comes to shove, over a few pints in the pub, you might come to that conclusion, right? But in terms of openness, everything is possible now to people. All things are possible. So I think, like, I've got 4 children. Um, they would kind of say, well, why not? It's possible, isn't it? There is nothing in Area 51. That's a different story completely. There is nothing to hide because there's nothing there.
Really, you believe there's nothing in Area 51?
Nothing, no. Area 51 was a cover-up for something else. The government conveniently used that story to actually hide our biggest story, okay? So this is the problem, right? There's a conflation of issues here that sometimes people can use a story to hide another story, right? It's very clever, right? So if you really want to know what happened in Area 51, you need to go back to World War II. And it's only a theory, no one can prove it. So after World War II, when the Reich collapsed, you had all of these scientists in Germany who were building V2 bombs and chemical warfare. The Americans didn't want them captured by the Russians. So over a period of few months, many were brought to the US. And this is documented. You don't have to read any fringe literature for this. But before these guys actually developed nuclear stuff and stealth aircraft, they actually had to have test flights, okay? And I'm not going to put, you and I into a test flight. So they had some morally objectionable kind of test flights. They used people. The claim was they went into some of the places where there was physically handicapped people, orphans, and they actually used these people for high altitude testing. So this is a theory, but the theory is it suited the government to go to UFO story to hide this, right? The thing is, it's very hard to hide a big secret for a long period of time with a lot of people. And if there's stuff in Area 51, why haven't we seen it, But it's not fake. There's something going on behind all this.